What is going on? Welcome to this week's episode of the Second of Strength podcast. As always, I'm grateful you're here. Hey, if you haven't done so already, it really helps me if you would just pause this for a second, go to wherever you're listening to it, and just leave a rating. And if you can, a review, but a rating helps a ton. I like 5 stars. If you're being so kind today. If not, whatever it is, it helps get this out to more people. And ultimately, I just want to help more people. So anyway, if you could do that, that'd be great. But anyway, today we are going to talk about limiting beliefs. And I think that if there's one thing that is keeping you from greatness, there's one thing that is keeping you from your potential, if there's one thing that is keeping you from all the things that you want to accomplish in this life, it's your very own limiting beliefs. It's not the outside world. It is not anything else that anybody's doing. It's not any of that. It is just simply you and your own beliefs and the limiting beliefs that you have about yourself. So today we are going to dive into that. We're going to conquer that. We're going to overcome them, and we're going to set ourselves up for the future. And at the beginning of this, the very first thing to overcoming any limiting belief is just understanding in your own heart what matters most. Because when something is so important to you, if you have a goal, if you have a dream, if there's something you want to accomplish, then you won't let any of those limiting beliefs stand in your way. And for me, it goes way back when I was really young. Maybe I've told this story before, maybe I haven't, I can't remember, but I wanted to be a rock star. I started playing the guitar when I was 12 years old, wanted to be a rock star. It was what I thought was going to happen. And, it was just a passion of mine. And that's what mattered most to me. And then when I was about 15 years old, I was asked to speak at a really large event. There's about 2,000 people in the audience. And I was really super nervous, just did not know how to overcome the fears. I was sitting on that stage. I was consumed with this fear and this doubt that I could not do this. And then I remembered in that moment what mattered most. What was the one thing that mattered most? And it was that I wanted to be a rock star. And I had this conversation mentally in my head that if I wanted to be a rock star and I wanted to play music in front of all these people, then I couldn't be scared of just this little stage that I was on with 2,000 people. And it was the first time, honestly, in my life that I ever used my 1 second of strength, that I knew that I had the power in that 1 second to overcome the fear, the doubt, the things that I was holding on to and limiting my potential because of it. And in that moment, in that second, I overcame that fear and was able to stand in front of that audience and give the talk that I was able to do and then go on. And I did go on to play some music. I did play a little bit in college. I love playing in front of people. And it's probably also what fuels a little bit of my passion, my drive to be a motivational speaker. And so, but it really came back to what mattered most. What mattered most in the moment? What was the most important thing to me? Because when we have a dream, when we have a vision, when we have a goal for our lives, then we won't let the limiting beliefs limit who we can become. We will instead choose the path that will go forward, even despite the fear, the doubt, the things that are holding us back. So that is one of the biggest things. What matters most to you? Define what that is. And if you don't know, that's okay. Like we're figuring this thing out. But I would take a few minutes, no smartphone, no music, nothing. Maybe go on a walk. If you could go on a walk for an hour with just your thoughts, maybe go on a drive, just your thoughts, and just think. Just think, be with your thoughts. Think about the things that matter to you. Think about where you want to go. And look, it's not always about like a career-driven thing or like reaching a goal or being a motivational speaker or anything like that. It just maybe most important is like spending time with your family. Most important, maybe, connecting with people in real life. Whatever's most valuable to you, that's what I want you to kind of uncover in your life. So, because when you do that, then we stop letting little things stand in the way of the big things in our life. That's what we'll stop doing. So that's the first thing. But a couple of limiting beliefs that I think are really standing in between us and maybe you and where you want to get to. And we'll talk a couple of those and see if we can break down some of those habits, some of those things that we've got going on in our lives. So the very first limiting belief is just an inadequacy belief that we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to go from point A to point Z. And it creates this roadblock in our mind that if we can't get from A to Z and we don't know how to do it, then we decide just not to do it all. And I think it's one of the things that just cripples people in general, cripples our society, cripples, growth, is because we just believe we don't know how to do it, so we don't do it at all. And look, going back to me in my life, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to, become a world sought after motivational speaker. I certainly didn't know how to grow an Instagram account. I didn't know how to start a podcast. I didn't know how to get into schools, and I'm traveling all over the country and speaking to students and speaking to other people. I didn't know how to give a TED Talk. I didn't know how to do any of that. But here I am coming out the other side of doing all that stuff. And it's not that I've reached the pinnacle of my dreams, but I certainly have more dreams, but I've certainly come a long way from where I thought I was. I've certainly gone from A to maybe F, in my life, or A to L, and I've got to get to Z. I don't know how to do that. I still don't know how to do that. But what I do know is that you can't stop. I do know that there are people who know how to do it. And so one thing that I always say is that, and you've probably heard this before, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but I always say that success leaves clues. If you look ahead to people who are accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish in your life, and I'm not saying to compare your life to them. That is not what I'm advocating, because I think that we shouldn't compare. But I want you to look at people who have done the things that you've done and know that there is a path to do it. And you can follow the clues that they leave so that you can figure it out for yourself. Success leaves clues. Pick up the clues, walk the walk, and you'll get there. So if you don't know how, follow the clues that somebody else has left for you. And you have to choose to do it, and you have to put in the work, and you have to put the effort, but you can do it. So success leaves clues. The other thing is, nobody's trying to go from A to Z. Nobody's trying to go from all the way from the bottom of a mountain to the top of the mountain. Nobody knows how to do that. Everybody knows you just have to take one step forward. And then you take another step forward. We're going to go from A to B, and then we're going to go from B to C and C to D, and we're going to continue that way until we get to where we want to go. Nobody knows how to do it. I think it's one of the funniest things, because everybody thinks that everybody's got their stuff figured out. Nobody does. Nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody is just moving ahead. The difference is some people don't let the limiting belief stop them. Other people let it stop them. Don't be the person who's going to let it stop you. Just go from A to B, and then take another step forward after that. And I promise, when you do that, that limiting belief of I don't know how to do it, it'll disappear. And if you look backwards, guess what? There's a whole bunch of stuff you didn't know how to do, and you did just fine. And you've made it this far, and you don't know how to do the next thing, but that's okay. You'll figure it out because you're gonna be able to do that. So that's the first one. The second one is just self-doubt, doubting yourself, doubting your capabilities, doubting doubting who you are. And what we have to do is we got to start doubting our doubts. We got to start doubting those things. And if we have negative thoughts in our mind, if we are planting seeds of negativity, planting seeds of like, oh, I'm not good enough, planting seeds of I don't have the ability, I don't have the capability, I don't have the skills, I don't have the tools, I can't do it, I can't, then you're going to prove yourself right. But if you just change that just a little bit, and you start proving yourself wrong, you start doubting your doubts, you start believing in yourself a little bit more, you start taking those steps, you start standing up even if you've got knocked down, if you just keep going, you will not fail. I have this poster on my wall. It's a man. He's in the middle of a lake. He is building the boat. He's building the bridge as he goes. He's got boards on his back. He's got a hammer in his hand. There are no boards in front of him, just a bunch of boards behind him. He is figuring it out as he goes. That's what I believe we have to do. We have to be the person who is willing to figure it out, take those steps, take those leaps, figure it out as we go. And when we do that, those doubts that we thought we had, that we didn't think we were good enough, those doubts that we thought we had, that it was like, man, I just don't know how, I can't do it, I'm not that person. Those doubts start to disappear when we start doubting our doubts, when we start doubting the negativity that we are putting on our mind, when we start doubting the limiting beliefs and the negativity that we start putting there. That's when we start doubting that and believing in ourselves a little bit, the sky's the limit. The sky is the limit. So don't doubt yourself. You can do this. I know you can. So another limiting belief that we have is the fear of failure. What if I fail? What if I fail? What if I start something? What if I put myself out there and I get really vulnerable and I go out, and instead of just being this mad success and all these people flocking to me and I'm, all the good things happen. What if they don't? What if they fail? What if? And the reality is so many people fail in this life. Everybody fails. Honestly, everybody's failed. You failed at something. I failed at something. I failed at a lot of things. And, you may look at my life or the life of different motivational speakers, the life of lots of people, and you go, man, life is perfect for them. That is not true. Life is not perfect. And there are so many things that I fail at. The difference is, are you willing to pick yourself up and learn from the failures? Are you willing to get better? Are you going to try again and just keep going? Or are you going to let the fear of failure or failure itself keep you from standing back up and trying again? I just believe that, the reality is, the reason I have gotten to where I am in this life is because I've decided that I won't stay down. Failure, bring it on. Let's try again. Don't know how to do it? That's okay. Let's try again. So it's okay to fail. Let's learn from it. It's okay to fail. Let's grow from it. It's okay to fail. Let's try again. It's okay to fail. And honestly, what's cool is the more you get comfortable with failing, the more acceptable failure becomes. And when we are okay with failure, we're willing to take bigger steps and bigger strides into the unknown because we know that we have the resilience to stand back up and be okay every single time. And some failures are bigger, some failures are smaller, some take a lot more time to recover from, some don't. And that's all okay. The question is, you can do it. The question is, are you willing to do it? And knowing that you can do it, because if you look backwards, you failed before and you'll fail again, but you do have the power and the strength to keep on moving forward. So that's what I would recommend. So at the end of the day, look, it all comes down to what matters most. If something really matters to you, then you won't let the limiting beliefs limit your potential. If something really matters to you, and that's why at the very beginning of this, I said, hey, let's take a few minutes and let's write down, let's think about the things that matter to us. Because if it really, really matters, you'll have that hard conversation. If it really, really matters, you'll try again. If it really, really matters, you'll try for the first time. What matters most to you? Because when you define what matters most, you will also subtract out of your life the things that are limiting your potential and keeping you from everything that you've ever wanted. So I hope this helps you today. Look, I am a big believer in people. I'm a big believer in you. I'm a big believer in your potential. I'm a big believer that you have everything inside of you it takes to accomplish every dream that you could possibly imagine. Some will take time. Some are difficult. Some you got to figure it out. Some you might have to define. Some you got to go from A to B and then figure out how to get to C to D and all the other letters. But what I do know is that you have inside of you what it takes to do it. All it takes from you is the faith to doubt your doubts and move forward despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the risk that you might have in your life, and choose to move forward anyway. And when you do that, you're going to turn around someday. You're going to look at all those little fears that you thought you had, and you're going to recognize how incredibly strong you are. And it's going to be the best moment. And I hope you reach out to me, and I hope you let me know when that moment is. And maybe that moment's right now, but I hope that you keep in touch and you let me know how things are going, because I am incredibly proud of you. And maybe more importantly, I believe in you and your ability to overcome all of the challenges that you're facing right now in this life. So anyway, I hope this helps you. If it helps, share with one other person. And I'll leave you the way I always leave you. Go find your 1 second of strength and be happy.